7월 6일부터 7일까지 웰링턴 국회의사당에서는 청소년 국회의원 활동이 있었습니다. 그 현장 모습을 교민 청소년인 오소현 양의 리포트로 직접 전하겠습니다.
안녕하세요. 저는 뉴질랜드 2010 청소년 국회의원 오소현입니다. To my honor, I was chosen as Melissa Lee's representative for the 2010 Youth Parliament of New Zealand. This auspicious event, which was on the 6th and 7th of July 2010, managed to influence and change the lives of 122 young New Zealanders, including myself. Youth Parliament is an event which is held every 3 years. At the moment, there are 122 members of Parliament in New Zealand, and the New Zealand government managed to organise an event which would allow for each of these members of Parliament to choose a representative who was of youth age to experience parliamentary activity. This event was to allow for youth to have more of a voice in their community. I was Melissa Lee's representative, and like Melissa Lee herself, I was the only Korean representative in the whole of Youth Parliament. Youth who supported various parties in New Zealand, including the National Party, Labour Party, ACT Party, Green Party and Maori Party, all participated in this event, and I realised that a lot of youth living in New Zealand actually have a lot of interest in politics. Even while eating or during recess, we would converse about political issues regarding New Zealand's current governmental issues, such as whaling or mining. The students especially loved discussing issues such as New Zealand's stance on the England diplomacy policies. When the youth MPs arrived in Wellington, we entered the beehive, and we were greeted by each member of Parliament and a Maori greeting called the Porphyry. Minister, it's such an honour to see you in real life. I've only ever seen you on Parliament TV. Mr. Speaker, I can't believe that I've finally seen you in person. Happy wedding anniversary. It was an absolutely nerve-wracking experience to be able to see the very people who influenced New Zealand and everything about it. In 2010, the bill that we decided to discuss for Youth Parliament was the Age of Majority Bill. We discussed this bill for 2 consecutive days at Youth Parliament, its principles stating that the age of majority, or the age in which one becomes an adult, should be raised from 18 years old to 20 years old. The current Age of Majority Bill was created in the 1970s, and so members decided that the current age of 20 years old was way too high. A noticeable number of youth MPs stated that the transition between 18 to 20 years old, when students gain a number of experiences such as leaving school, was a major transition in them becoming an adult, and thus the age of majority should remain at 20 years old. On the contrary, a number of members also stated that 18 years old is the suitable age of majority, as one can get married at 18 years old, and when one commits a crime at 18 years old, they receive the same punishment as any adult. To discuss this issue, all the young members of Parliament decided to sit in the Royal Chamber. Actual members of Parliament sit in the Royal Chamber and discuss the issues regarding this country. I believe that New Zealand, out of all the countries in the world that hold an annual youth parliament, is the only country where they allow for their actual youth MPs to step into the Royal Chamber and debate. This was extremely exciting, as it meant that youth members of Parliament could sit in the Royal Chamber like any real member of Parliament and experience government activity. I quickly realised, however, that it is extremely hard to come to a conclusion on an issue with 121 other members of Parliament who all live in different electorates, have different religions, and come from different upbringing environments to me. Every single week, real members of Parliament have to discuss issues that influence every single citizen living in New Zealand. These 122 members of Parliament work extremely hard to benefit this country and its people. The burden on these members of Parliament are extremely heavy. These members have to learn how to solve the economic turmoil that New Zealand is currently in, or how to solve unemployment. When I met these members of Parliament in person, I realised that they're extremely kind, almost funny, and are kind of like our school teachers. Although they come from an unbelievably good educational background, I realise that these people are just people, and sometimes members of Parliament can make mistakes. I figured all this out while sitting in Melissa Lee's chair in the Royal Chamber and realised that politicians play an unbelievably amazing role in influencing New Zealand. I think we must all remember that at the end of the day, politics is just what's happening in our everyday lives. Politics is just what representatives are trying to do to solve racial discrimination in the workplace or bullying or youth violence at schools. I hope that Korean youth living in New Zealand at the moment can understand and appreciate this and thus play an active role in improving New Zealand at the moment. My dream is that Korean members in the New Zealand government at the moment and any Korean youth interested in politics try their best in academia and get a good role in Parliament to make New Zealand a better place to live in for especially our Korean citizens. On a side note, however, I have to say that all the members of Parliament I met in the Beehive never lost their top scholar position while at school. 이번 청소년 국회의원 활동이 제 인생의 소중한 경험이었습니다. 고맙습니다.